Welcome to the Commander's Journey, a journey for new Commander players ready to uncover their hidden magic potential.
Welcome back. I'm Joel.
And I'm Alex.
And today we got our Time Spiral good cards for Commander, or Commander staples, or just some of our favorite cards in the new special set coming up. Time Spiral Remastered. So let's get into it. What do you think, Alex?
So this is definitely one, especially before it just changed to $200. Prior to that, this really was one of those ones I was advocating for those around me. Pick up a box, hide it in your closet, pretend it doesn't exist, because it's going to go up in price. Especially with these time-shifted cards, it's kind of a big deal. There's a lot of great Commander staples in here, a lot of staples for other formats. I think this is really unique, and I actually kind of hope they do more of this, because I think a lot of players would like that old-style frame to their new cards.
Yeah, I'm definitely seeing the nostalgia. I have heard some people say, make statements that, yeah, with the digital art, it doesn't look as good. But for some of these, I think it looks pretty sharp. Even the digital art for the one with just right there on the top, the Yawgmoth Thran Physician, still looks pretty sharp in there. And there's a few, I think, cards down here look really nice in this old art frame. So definitely cool.
I was going to say, I think the crop is a little different too on them, a hair, so that's sometimes a little jarring as well. But again, for the most part, I think they look fantastic, and there are definitely players that like that old style of frame and want these. So I think that's perfect for them, and we are happy with it because we got a lot of cool new reprints.
So just a quick overview, you were explaining this to me. So in this set, it's a special set. The time-shifted cards are older card reprints from a few various sets. And
so they are newer cards specifically from that are being done in this remastered style set. Basically, there's the normal set, which is just all taken stuff from Time Spiral block. Magic Online did a version of this a while ago without these remastered cards. But basically, they went in and they just took the highlights from the set and stuff they thought played well in draft, put them all together in a set, and then what they did for the time shifted slot, which was something that existed in Future Sight, in that set they tried to guess what Magic would look like in a number of years, tried to add new cards, had a weird frame, and in this one, when we're going back with this new style of box, they instead decided to put newer cards in the old frame. And again, a lot of these are big Commander staples. Some of them are for modern, even older formats, but a lot of these are Commander staples.
Yeah, and some are even banned in Commander, right? Like this bad boy here.
There you go.
But let's talk about some of these cards. We're just gonna go through and we're just gonna talk about some of our favorite staples and stuff. Point out some cards we really like. Yeah, I guess I'll start. This bad boy right here. I'm just gonna start with this guy in the top center right here. Yawgmoth Thran Physician, 2 black and black. Everybody saw this in Modern Horizons, I believe. And legendary creature, human cleric, protection from humans. Pay 1 life, sacrifice another creature, put a -1 negative counter on up to 1 target creature, and draw a card. Discard a card and proliferate. It's a 2/4. This bad boy it's just a nice card. And I think it got pretty expensive really quick, and it was just printed, right, for the first time.
Yeah, it shot up in price from the get-go, and I do think it was being played in some formats, specifically, I think because of the protection from humans, which is not the card that we in Commander really care about, but that was definitely, I think, part of it. Don't quote me on that, though. I'm not, all I really play is Commander nowadays. But yeah, this reprint is fantastic, and it kind of makes me sad that they didn't also do Urza in this style of old frame, because I think these two are the ones that really are kind of like, I'm happy they did Yawgmoth. I just also wish they would have done Urza too, but they are some fantastic choices.
Nice. Beautiful card.
Another one right next to it, which I'm happy they did. I don't think it's even aimed at us as much as True Name Nemesis. Right there on the left, 1 blue and a blue for a creature, a merfolk rogue. It enters the battlefield, choose a player, and you have protection from that player. Or it does, anyway, sorry. This card, I think, was first printed in one of the early Commander sets. I want to say the second one. but this one, I think Legacy, I want to say, was taken aback by it. So I think this reprint is more aimed at that. But it's kind of nice for them to take Commander cards and show that they're willing to do this old style frame treatment with it as well.
Yeah, it's nice. Definitely a Merfolk Rogue right there. That's the Professor's card right there.
I mean, it's a great card, even just in our format. There's a reason why it was printed in Commander first, you know?
Yeah, I mean, maybe I'm just a black player that likes to play black, but there's so many good black time shifted cards and green ones. There's so many great vanilla cards. I just thought there was overabundance in black.
Well, you're passing Mirror Entity, which is great. Treasure Cruise is also great. Trying to think of anything. Sylvan Scrying, that's a big deal.
Yeah, that was one I definitely liked, and that's definitely it seems like a really good staple because you can go and get any land. So this really fixes you, and to be able to get it on turn 2 and play it on turn 3, right? And you can get that, you can possibly get that third or fourth color you need really quickly.
I mean, it's just a very beautiful card, and one that I'm happy that they printed in the old frame, and it's not quite fantastic for a format. It's a little bit of a weaker ramp and growth, but it does at least let you search for any land, so there are decks that want it. It's the kind of one that fits well, I think, into the old frame. Is my feeling behind it.
Yeah, and I think definitely good for fixing in those 3, 4, 5 color decks. Yeah. But there's a lot of.
Or get your Urborg out early.
Exactly. Let's just keep scrolling here. I mean, I'm looking. I see another green really going. Courser Crew Fix right there.
Yes.
I mean, who doesn't want to play with that effect, right?
Yes. Sigil is fantastic in your enchantment deck. Sigil of the Empty Throne. I'm not the biggest fan of Ponder, but boy are other people. And then Tassiger is a very, very popular commander. Yes.
And I was sad it was green and blue for his effect. I was hoping to be black and blue because I'm looking at building a black and blue deck right now. I was like, no.
Tassiger is a fun one. You can't really go wrong. You get that graveyard synergies. We have Gary here.
Oh yeah, Gary. With the old art, not that new art they did. I really like that treatment. It's really good. Yeah. Oh, Path to Exile.
Yes.
So there's a good
I don't think
of like just
repeal's very bad either. We don't play it very often, but I think it's perfectly fine.
Yeah. Especially in a lot of blue
nice
control.
It can take out any permanent. Yeah, it's not fantastic. There are better options, but if it gets the job done,
for sure. Let's just keep scrolling through here, see what else really jumps out at us.
Zealous Conscripts is getting more notoriety and popularity as we go. That's a surprise one, I think.
Yeah. What set is that from? Because that art looks...
That is Ixalan.
That's Ixalan.
Which one in Ixalan? I do not know. But I played it when it came out. It's when I was still drafting a lot. An Ixalan draft left a little to be desired. Oh, yeah. I was a defender of it for a little while. But it's,
whenever you can steal somebody's permanent, and put it on
It's permanent.
Yep.
Oh, no. Sorry, it's not permanent. It's just powerful because it's any type of permanent. I apologize. Spreading this information. No, it's just because it's any type of permanent, but it is pretty unique in that because not too many red cards. They want to hit creatures. They don't just hit anything.
Yeah, and then if you're playing Corvold and you have that, and you have a Zealous Conscript, so you just take anything you want and sack it to Corvold before you give it back.
Evolutionary Leap sees some play. You got Talrand here as well.
Talrand, Sky
Flicker Wisp.
Yep. There you go. Here's some good staples right here. Mole Drifter.
Yeah.
Read the Bones
I think
is still decent.
Yes, it is. And I was going to say Palace Jailer. It's mainly destroying, I want to say, Pauper. I could be outdated, and it's like banned now, but it's not bad in Commander as well. Just not great, but I think Mono White would probably be the only place that really stick it.
Yeah. Oh, look at here. Vandal Blast, man. There's a card.
I love Vandal Blast and Beast Within as well. Can't get enough Beast Within. But the Vandal Blast is starting to get a little expensive. I'm happy about that reprint.
Yeah. I think it's great, especially for mono red decks. Like, you don't have a ton of board sweepers in mono red. And especially ones you can just knock out a bunch of artifacts in one blow.
I'm personally of the opinion I love Vandal Blast. It's an argument for red is Vandal Blast. If I'm playing red, I generally try to fit a Vandal Blast, and it was a little easier when it was a little cheaper. But nowadays, if I recommend it for if you don't have it in a red deck. But it was a little easier when it was cheaper.
And Beasts Within for sure. So, is the thing that these are going to be in their own packs, or there's one of these per pack?
Yeah, it's one of these per pack, and I actually just read it, so I know what it is because I had no clue either. I looked it up. There's one per pack, and there's a chance they can be foil as well. But yeah.
Good cards. Harvester of Souls, great for those black decks. Oh, Silence.
Stonehorn Dignity is bad, painful too. Silence, a Thragtusk.
Thragtusk. Yeah,
And
that looks really cool in that old art form right there.
Joel, if you could click on Past in Flames.
Yeah.
I want to point out too, something I really like that they did here is that little grave symbol in the top left corner. The first couple sets where they messed with graveyards, they wanted people to know that this could do something in the graveyard, and so they had that little, symbol in the corner of the headstone, just to the symbol, just to show. So you kind of put your graveyard in such a way that you could point to the other players, and I think it's really cool they put it back on things that's relevant for, like Past in Flames.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, I didn't even notice that until somebody made a comment about that, because I didn't know that was a thing. I've only been playing Magic for 2 years, so for me, this is really cool. This is it's not nostalgia. It's just, because I didn't play with these cards, but I still think it looks really awesome.
Definitely horrendously unique.
There's a bunch of good cards right here.
There's all that whole row is pretty amazing. When Shriekmaw and Intangible Virtue are your bottom end, that's pretty good. Laboratory Maniac, go-to alt win con. Itali is Itali. Eternal Witness, you can't do better than that.
You always want an Eternal Witness. Oh, nice. Dismember, target creature gets negative.
Yes.
I never played that card.
Oh, Dismember is a go-to in Commander. It's painful. I mean, it's not quite as scary and as prevalent as it used to be when it came out, even in Commander, because the Commander was kind of a baby format at the time period. But still, the fact that you can only pay one mana for it is pretty powerful. And when it was in Standard, it just wrecks Standard, because you don't even need to be playing black to throw it in your black deck.
And those negative effects are nice getting around indestructible and stuff. So. Love that. Farseek, there's a staple right there. Remand, which can be a good counter. Johnny's Pride Mate, yeah.
I wonder why Johnny's Pride Mate's here. My guess is because they eroded it, and so they wanted to do a reprint. That's the one that kind of weirds me out a little bit. I'm a little curious about that inclusion.
Is there a lot of life gain in the Time Spiral block?
No, and most of these don't show up enough to really jump on a theme anyways. I'm a little surprised.
Well, it looks good with the artwork. There you go. Maybe at that point they were like, well, which pieces of art look really good and does everybody likes to play in the deck? Zulaport Cutthroat. Love that.
That's a big one. Reclamation Sage, Banishing Light. I don't care super much about it, but other people, Merfolk people, love that. The Master of the Pearl Trident.
Vanishing Light's a really good removal spell. Just being able to exile. I've been playing a few more enchantment exile or effects that kill things off, because it's harder to remove enchantments. It's fun.
Yeah,
it's fun. This is a good one, I think. Felden of the Third Path.
Oh, Felden's fantastic. I have
this card is really good.
When we did the deck tech for the Perforos that came out recently, I took huge advantage of Felden in that deck. It really allowed me to abuse some shenanigans.
Yeah, I think have a card that can just do that. I mean, the only way to make it better is if it was an enchantment. It could be hard to remove, but to be able to just go make copies of tokens from your graveyard it's really fun. It seems really fun.
It's horrendously powerful. And on that line, too, we got some other powerful ones as well. Sanguine Bond It's kind of a big deal. That needed a reprint too. That was getting up there in price. And we didn't need the reprint of it, but Beast Whisper is fantastic.
Great card.
Baral, Chief of Compliance, is a much benign, hated card, but definitely sees play in our format.
Yeah.
I was going to say where we got SRAM there. Oh,
This
Containment
next
Priest.
one's
That's
really...
the card I couldn't quite see. Containment Priest is there.
Priest.
Not for us. It's for, I want to say, modern. It's an older format.
This card, I think, is an excellent choice for a reprint because this card is nasty. Leyline of the Void. And this was one of the ley lines that shot up in price because of how good it was. People realized just killing people's graveyards off was really, really, really imposing yourself on. So many people play from the graveyard in Commander, so if somebody else gets this out, a lot of times half your, a good amount of your cards are kind of screwed.
What's interesting about especially that ley line is that the art that they picked is the older art, not the new one from M20. So I think it definitely fits in a little better.
Yeah, has a cool look for sure, and it's just a really good card. I like every time I go back to this, it shoots down and then up.
Spoilers. No,
Mystic Confluence.
Oh, yeah.
There's one of your favorites right there.
That was one, and we talked about this off camera, Joel, so I'll talk about it now on. This card I loved. It goes, there's a lot of situations which I like it. It was creeping up there in price, and I did not like that. It used to be one of my go-to budget picks, and now it's like was about $6-7, and I was like, okay, well, this definitely isn't budget anymore.
And that's why you were big on Sublime Epiphany when it came out, because that's a very similar thing, to be able to have something, even though it is a lot of mana, but it can do multiple things. It can counter abilities. It can draw you, make copies of it. It can do like several things. The versatility is something I know you've always preached to me with, as far as when we deck build.
Absolutely. And the difference between that and Mystic Confluence, Sublime Epiphany, I think, is one more mana. And, you can do each mode once, but I thought for some reason Sublime was 6 mana. I can check it while we're talking.
You can check,
I'll check it. No, you about to say. I will confirm that while we're...
If I try to check it, I got so many things running on my computer right now, it might just crash.
Yeah. It's one more, specifically, yeah.
Yeah, it is one more.
It's one more. But yeah, that one, you get all these different options, but you can only do them all once. What's nice about Mystic Confluence, there's not as many options, and they're not as powerful, but... if I just want to pay 5 mana to draw 3 cards, I can live with that, right? You can always counter something and draw 3 cards. Whether you need to do all of them is not, but you can mix and match.
Yeah, I mean, it's really nice because sometimes you need that extra card draw. Now you have this card to do that. And if you don't, and you need to counter something, you got that as well. Or bounce them, so it's really good.
I was going to say, you Become Immense, too, on the side is a favorite for Infect decks.
Yeah.
Both in our format and out.
It's all right. +6/+6.
It's +6/+6 for potentially just a green.
That's so nasty. Anger of the Gods, it looks fun too if you're in a burn deck, and then you burn the board, you also exile it, which is a nice sweeper.
Yeah. There was a time period where it was fairly unique, I know, in Standard for Anger of the Gods. I love Disdainful Stroke coming up here, too. I think it's a fantastic 2 mana counterspell. We can't all afford the mana drains, and I really like, because chances are what you're trying to counter is a big mana cost spell. So Disdainful Stroke is a fantastic choice.
Yeah, the majority. I was going to say something about Anger of the Gods. I mean, with all those Torburn burn decks going around, wouldn't this then cause 5 damage to each creature?
I believe so. I'm
trying to remember how Torburn was worded, but
I believe it does. Again, don't quote us on it because we're speculating here. Very little prior research.
Yeah, but there's a lot of
I think
burn.
So.
There's a lot of cards that multiply burn in red nowadays. So Anger of the Gods.
I'm pretty sure Anger of the Gods just gets increased.
It just gets better. Alesha.
Alesha's a popular commander.
Elvish Mystic is a good man of Dwarf.
Gurmag Anglers there for Pauper.
This Inspector even looks good here too.
Inspector is fantastic in mono white. I don't even recommend it in Boros until we get the card draw that we're looking for in white. Inspector is passable.
A quick one too. It gets you a clue token. Yeah, not bad. Yeah. The rats.
Trinket Mage is a big deal too.
And the Goblin Engineer down here too.
Yes. Dreadhorde Arcanist didn't see as much play as I expected. Restoration Angle's a fine card. It did see some play.
And then we get to our
other things we got going on.
Sorry, am I going too fast?
Mortify is no, you're perfect. Mortify doesn't see as very much play in our format anymore, but it's still a fine card.
Good card. Dovin's Veto is great. I like this because it counters a non-creature spell, but you can't counter the counter spell because that's always
yes. Well, it's a little clean with Dovin's Veto. I actually, there was a thought process we might see more of it when it came out. We didn't quite, but it's definitely still totally playable.
Then we've got Rakdos Charm, some more commanders in Grinzo, Slimefoot.
Yeah. Popular
Trigon.
commandos. Yeah, Trigon.
And the Cloud Shredder Sliver.
That's a Modern Horizons one too.
Is it? Okay. Yeah, I did notice there was a lot of slivers, and I had to ask you, were there slivers in the original set? Because there's a lot of slivers here. Consuming Aberration. Yep. That's a cool card. Teamer Ascendancy, actually, when I was looking through them, this one and Knight of the Reliquary, I was like, because these are cards that might be known to everybody else, but for me, I feel like they're newer. I haven't really seen these cards, so.
Yeah.
I like
Knight
this
is
one.
horrendously popular. Teamer Ascendancy is fantastic, though you don't run into many Teamer colored decks. It's getting a little more popular now, and even then they may or may not want Ascendancy, but it's a perfectly fine choice. Breadblade Elf is for I think it got unbanned in Modern. I'm not even sure about that, but that's for Modern. I like Price Amalgam.
Yeah, and your zombie deck is really good.
Yeah, it's just always there.
Yeah, and then look at Feather. That's been a very popular Boros commander.
I was gonna say all these are for the most part the legendary creatures. Both Arcades, the good old Defender commander, and then yes,
Kasali.
Yeah, Kasali Pride Mage. It was one of the go-tos for enchantment and artifact removal. For some decks, it's still fantastic, like a cat deck or something that can take advantage of the Exalted or can bring it back.
Nice, Abrupt Decay, good card. And then we get into our artifacts. There's some nice artifacts in this deck.
Oh, yeah.
In this set. In this deck. In this set. I mean, look, I mean, just like, you go across and it's like, these, you want most all of these.
To say almost all these are fantastic, some better than others, but they're all great. I mean, I love the old style Contagion.
Yeah, Contagion class. I always like the Everflowing Chalice because it's like, well, we don't have a lot of 2 mana rocks, right? But with Everflowing Chalice, you can kick it as many times. It's a 2 mana rock, or it's a 4 mana rock that taps for 2, or a 6 mana rock that taps for 3. Like you could decide early game it's your perfect 2 mana rock, just simple, right? But later on you could, if you wanted more, you can use it for more.
Trax is very scary with Everflowing Chalice.
Yeah, Trax is just always scary. Just saying.
Yeah. I mean, the other ones you play, Cranial Plating, I haven't seen as much anymore. I used to see it a lot more often. Maybe that's just my play group, me and Joel's. Chalice of the Void, everyone hates it. Mm-hmm. Crystal Shard. Actually, I think it wasn't one of the Command Zone game nights. I think used Crystal Shard recently.
Yeah, I recall something like that. The Lotus Bloom. Now there's a card. That's one they teased a while back. Everybody's
yes.
That, but, just another twist and take on the Black Lotus, but with Suspend 3. So I mean, this is good. In some ways, I mean, this card I know has existed for a while. In some ways, it's almost better than that new Lotus. What is the one? What's the card that only taps for 3 for your commander, and then you sacrifice it. It's easier to pass.
It's the suspend cost is the issue, but again, that's often not such a big deal to play. For some decks, don't care as much about that.
And some cards can remove counters. In fact, there's a land now that can remove counters. You can make it faster if you want. But even still, even if it, you had to wait 3 turns for it. I mean,
yeah, you gotta. I don't know if even technically it's an exile, so it's kind of hard to interact with. I'm not sure about the timing of that. I don't play suspend cards very often.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, even if you exile and put the 3 suspend counters on it or whatnot, for 0 mana cost, you'll end up getting 3 mana. Getting it 3 turns later is still not a bad deal. Like, getting
fantastic.
3 mana for free at any time is good. I hope.
Yeah, no, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the rest of them aren't so aimed at us. I guess we played Manifold Key a little bit, and a couple decks went Hollow One, but that's mostly aimed at other formats. This is the commander list.
This is the commander staple side. Vanquisher's Banner, all your tribal, Solemn Simulacrum, unless you're playing mono green. Panharmonicon, great card. Another Hedron is a great 4-rock. Mystic Sanctuary, and then we get to the lands too, which great lands. But I like Hedron Archive as a good rock because you can also get that drawing 2 cards off of it, which is really nice too.
Yeah, it's flexible, and I grabbed a bunch of them when I believe it was BFC. I grabbed a bunch of them. I'm sitting on them even right now. Joel, let me know if you need some.
BFC.
Yeah, Battle for Zendikar.
Oh, Battle for Zendikar. Oh,
yeah.
BFZ. I thought you said BFC.
Yeah.
I'm like, BFC. Battle for Zendikar. Yeah. Hedron's great. I like the old Solemn too. It's cool.
Yeah, I don't think that was the first Solemn. I think that's the second one. I'm not actually 100% sure. It might be the first one. I might be completely wrong. No, I am wrong because it was that's done off of somebody's face specifically. So that is the first printing of Solemn.
There you go. Mystic Sanctuary, always good in blue. Bazooka Bog. There's my favorite. One of my favorites. Not my ultimate, but one of my favorites. Right there.
Yeah, that one looks beautiful too in that old style. I know you and me were talking about that. You really like that one.
It looks like it's built for it. It looks like I was hoping that other really nice black card we'll talk about here in a little bit was in this frame too. Let's
see. Arch is nice. This one's I'm a little surprised by it, but it definitely, there's some decks that Arch gets the job done. Blighted Woodland too seems a lot of play in our format. Ancient Den, if you need those artifact land cycles, why not?
Yeah, Field of Ruins, decent. But I still would run a Scavenger Grounds instead of Field of Ruins.
Yeah. I like a Ghost Quarters too. If
yeah.
Yeah.
We actually have a show on some of those lands if you want to check that out. plug. See how professional that was.
I was just a second ago.
So this is the remastered set. So these are the cards that are there, and some good cards in there too. So.
Yes, and all these do exist in the old border because they were originally printed as such. A couple of them that were in the future shifted borders, of course, they never ended up in either the old style border or that's the only way they avoided it. Other than that, it's all this this is the first time you're generally being printed in this border for some of them, unless they've been reprinted already.
This needed a reprint. I just got my Seb McKinnon version today in the mail of this one.
I'm about to say you're missing 2 up on the top right. That Wheel of Fate.
Oh yeah,
that needs like 100 reprints.
It's a good card too. Hypergenesis.
Red desperately needs it. Exactly. I was going to say Ancestral Visions too. Very powerful card.
Yeah, we can always use a few more wheels. Wheels are good.
Good.
What else in here is jumping out at you?
Chroma's not a bad deal, and that's the original Teferi. Tarmogoyf is more for older formats. The packs that are in this next one are a huge deal. They desperately need reprints. I even noticed it didn't even change the price that much. I mean, it knocked $10, but it's still too expensive, all the packs. But they are powerful, powerful cards.
Pact of Negation, Summoner's Pact. Yeah, that is a good counter spell. Yeah, all these.
They're just all free.
There's no white packs.
I don't remember why there is no white pack, though. I can confirm that. I do remember that. I do not remember why, though.
Man, oh man.
They've just been hating white from the get-go.
Yeah.
Magus. There's your proof.
But Gavin's been talking about white getting some love.
It needs it, and you can kind of see it starting to do it anyways. It desperately needs it. We got Magus of the Moon here.
Yeah, I hate that.
Everyone will hate you, but it gets the job done. If I'm mono red, I might be willing to play one of these, one of Blood Moon or Magus of the Moon or something, just to help even it up.
Just don't
do
it.
Play those basic lands.
So you know what this is making me. I'm not going to buy a box. I think I'm going to buy some singles, but I want to play. I do want to play a limited game. I know we're not meeting in person just yet, but I want to play. Maybe we'll do like a pre-release over like Zoom.
I'm on board. Alex. I was gonna say do a seal to get 6 packs. Just have a good time with it. I'm on board. Sudden spoiling actually before I lose it. That's a big deal. Yeah.
Until end of turn, creatures target player control loses all abilities and have base power. Nice. And you can put that split second, so while you're on the attack or while you're doing something big.
Exactly, and I was going to say too, some decks play Draining Welk. I've seen, if you're in a Saproling deck, you play the Hermit too, but that's a little more specific.
Life and Limb. Magus.
That's Saproling love.
Yep, we love Saprolings.
Nether Trader is very useful, and same thing with you have the original Mangara.
This is a good white card. Yeah, this is really good. When the first time I had to read it a few times when I was questioning to put it in a deck, I was like, wait, it says Exile. I like that. And target permanent, so it's nice. It's a nice card.
I built a Chulane deck, try to get my wife into Magic, and it takes heavy advantage of the Mangara Chulane interaction, which is a very powerful interaction. I was going to say the Venser is a big deal. Venser's a fantastic go-to flicker card.
Nice.
In that style deck. Some people, I've seen some people abuse Greater Gargadon, but that's more of a rare instance. Same thing with Heartwood Storyteller. It's more of a group hug card.
Nice. Vesuvian Shapeshifter. I know that card. That's a decent card. Extirpate. I've never seen this card. Choose target card in graveyard other than a basic land card. Search its owner's graveyard. Hand library for all cards with the same name as that card and exile them. Oh, so that wouldn't really work out.
Not for our format.
Not unless somebody's running like a Rats deck or something like that.
Hey, if you were hiding that and you play that player, I don't know, man. That'd be really powerful.
There was that really fun interaction in the last game we played where you're playing your zombies and Randall was playing his humans deck, and he had that one card that said it was down to just you two as well. Kill all zombies and resurrect all humans. That was the most perfect play I've ever seen.
About to say, not a lot I can do about that. And sorry about that bump.
That was sorry, I had to say that because those niche things you think could never happen. They sometimes happen.
They sometimes do. Boy, was I blown out of the water too. Nothing I can do to come back from that.
No.
Reiterate is great in a copy deck or a big instance deck. A burn deck likes that card. Trying to see some others here. Harmonize. Big deal. Hopefully I'm not missing any as we do it this way.
Sudden shock does 2 damage to any target. Split second. So that split second thing was going on in this set.
Yes, I mean, this is the set we're probably going to see as we keep going. Croson Grip, there it is, right as I thought it.
Yeah, it's down there. That's second. That's the popular one. The one that maintained popularity.
I mean, Split Second's a great mechanic. It's very powerful. It's just, it's a little more specific. A big game hunter is something that's it has madness. Is really the only reason you play it, and those madness decks.
Nice.
Other than Croson Grip, what else we got?
We got our first sliver. It's not our first. I'm just saying this. There's another sliver.
This is a great. If you want to build a sliver deck, this is a great box to pick up. Yavimaya Dryad. That's a fantastic choice right there. Same with the Dread Return.
Yes, both of those great. The Dryad, the Dread Return I think is really good too with that flashback. To be able to do it a second time, I think is really nice. Plus, if you're in a mill deck or a deck that's dredging or whatever, and it gets stuck in your graveyard, you can still play it. So that's always good.
So a couple of these cards see a little bit of play, but they're a little more deck specific. Trying to think if anything really jumps out at me. And I probably missed one or two that everyone's like, oh, that's one of my go-tos. I'm not familiar with it. Oh, there's Pongify.
I love Pongify. Lightning Axe looked really cool too. I've never played the card, but discard a card or pay 5. So I'm figuring, like, for 1 mana, discard a card and do 5 damage. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I played. They reprinted Lightning Axe, one of the sets right before you started playing Joel. I think it was about a handful of sets before it, maybe a year before it.
Yeah.
They reprinted Lightning Axe. It's a fun card. It's really interesting. It works with Madness great. I was gonna say too. Here's a couple of big ones. You got Return to Dust. Go-to classic. Spell Burst sees a little play with that buyback and then counter spell. And then a couple of people really, you don't see it very often anymore, but you used to in the old days with a couple overrun decks, or even Infect will sometimes still play Might of Old Krosa.
Yeah, for 1 green you can pump it up quite a bit. Delay. It doesn't have suspend and gain suspend. Interesting.
Yeah, it's a counter spell that makes you wait a bit and then it happens. I would like it better maybe if it was 1 less mana. I could see an argument for it.
Nice. Here's some more cards. King Sense.
Definitely looks like a fun draft set too. I'm definitely on board, Joel, with this idea for a limited gameplay.
Yeah, I think it would be fun. Shivan Meteor deals 13 damage to target creature. Wait, what? I like this.
Kill somebody.
I like this card. You draw X cards, you lose X, where X is the number of creatures you control. That also seems like a good
I've
draw
seen
spell.
Minions Murmurs before. I missed it as we were passing by. I have seen it before in decks. It's definitely not common, but I've run into it.
Nice. Yeah, I like that Shivan Meteor. That seems like it could be fun. It's got the suspend, which is cool, but you could still just keep it in your hand and play it for 5, which is not terrible.
So actually, the new Thor deck would like that card.
Yeah, Rebuff the Wicked. This is one I would point out to you. I think it's a really good card for Boros. Like, if you're playing a deck that you're heavy, you need to protect yourself. Especially like, I was looking. What is that new Boros Precon? He's like, it's like Tron based. Card like this is good. People won't expect all the time, because they're gonna try and hit you with a spell. There you go. There's your extra protection.
I'm about to say, and I forget it exists all the time. In fact, until Joel brought it up, I'm like, wait, what was that card again? And you're like, there. I'm like, man, I almost thought maybe it should count as a hidden gem. We didn't quite count it there, but
yeah, because it's not so hidden anymore.
Because
it's in the new set now.
Yeah. No, it's a great card. It's definitely my preferred white counterspell. I just had forgotten, honestly, it existed.
Yeah, because the other counterspell didn't seem so great. It's like, counter unless I pay 1. It's like, they're always going to be able to pay 1. But this one is not.
Mana Tithe.
Yeah, Mana Tithe. But like this thing is nice, I think, just because, even though it has to target a permanent, I mean, that's going to happen. Because you're going to have something big. So, yeah, there we go. We got the Prodigal.
The Prodigal Pyromancer is a famous card. Unless you have a Pingers deck. I guess maybe you would. You probably would play that in a Pingers deck.
All right. We got some more. A little quickly.
Simeon's Spirit Guide isn't for our format, but boy, I'm happy with. I think that's a new art too. That's a pretty big deal for older formats.
What was I seeing? Somebody was saying that they were They were, you know, how did they put it in there? They were inspired by Thanos.
There you go.
He's all like this planet, and it's like this snap, and he's fading away. Anyways,
There's a lot of formats that play Simian Sirida. We don't really see it in ours, but that's a very happy reprint.
I thought
this was like a common that was getting expensive.
Again, being new and only seeing these cards, for me, it's a new set. It's a new set. Search for Tomorrow looked pretty good,
Yeah.
and I like the suspend on it because I'm like, if turn 1 I play this for 1 green, on turn 3. I'm searching for a basic land to put on the battlefield, right?
Yeah, exactly. And it's the same timing you would do normally, except it'll, you can pay 1 in the get-go. Yeah, I've seen a couple decks play Search for Tomorrow. It's not terribly uncommon.
Yeah, and I think if you just pay the suspend costs, it's really good value for them.
Yeah.
There we go. There's a few more bad boys. Piracy Charm. Target creature gains island walk until turn. Let's see what we got here. 4 to 5.
White Mane Lion plays in some, about to say ETB decks, some bounce and, not bounce, I'm sorry, flicker decks.
Yeah. And the artwork's pretty cool. Pretty cool. Some madness cards. Assassinate. More slivers. Look at all these cool slivers. Do I sound sarcastic when I say I don't play slivers? So there's more slivers. I feel like they're
one
taking
of the most powerful decks in Commander. I swear to God, they're just so synergistic. It's so scary. We just don't run into it because again,
even
so
more
powerful.
so than elves. You think?
Even more so. There's not too many things. I think honestly, the two that I have a little before elves are that there are some allies decks I think are a little worried about, but it's slivers, elves, and allies. They're the ones. Slivers I think are a little more powerful, but they're up there.
Valid Shell Dweller.
Slivers might be the worst tribe. Not in terms of I love slivers. They're just
I guess
most powerful.
Is Eldrazi really a tribe, or is Eldrazi?
Eldrazi's it's kind of a tribe. I mean, it's a tribe. It's just there's like 7 cards you're really playing, and then it's just the ramp to those 7 cards or 6 cards. Yeah, the big deal is I would say, hey, Seal of Primordium sees a little play.
And there's monetized too. Target artifact of enchantment. Oh yeah, another monetized.
And I said Enslave is an okay for a black steel creatures, which doesn't run into it very often. I've seen that before.
Grape Shot looks cool.
Yeah, Grape Shot's great. A Green Seeker too, and I've seen one, not very commonly, but it does happen. I've seen a couple people use that for repeated effects.
Nice. Tendril of Corruption. What else we got here? More Commander-ish. Looking for Commander staples.
Yeah, I'm about to say, as we get to the commons, I'm not surprised. This is more like looking at the draft format.
Okay, we're looking at draft fodder now.
But for the most part, I mean, there might be 1 or 2 gems in there that are hidden.
We already found the one. We're done. That's it.
There's a few of them.
White counter spells.
Yeah, I'm not seeing anything.
Yeah, depending on how you play it. Then we got some more in the regular set. Our colors. There's our Sliver Legend. Rada.
These are a lot of popular commanders right here. Sliver Legion, Rada, Joyra, Dralnu, all, especially when legendary creatures are less common, these are all go-tos.
Nice. Powerful cards there and a bunch of powerful slivers in all the colors.
There you go.
You didn't see some artifacts.
Gauntlet of Power, I'm very happy for the reprint.
Lotus Bloom is also in this shell. So that's nice.
And Lotus Bloom, especially specifically, first of all, we can get all the Lotus Bloom we need. The decks that want it. What's interesting though is the fact that again they printed it in both slots, which it hasn't been in the old slot. I think even in Time Spiral was done in the new frame. It's just it's just unique. You don't.
That's different. Yeah, That's the special one, I guess. The Stuffy Doll, which you use against me. Nice, thank you very much.
Yeah, Gauntlet of Power. I'm happy. Chroma's Memorial, which she just passed away from. That's also a very powerful card. No, it's all good.
Let me just go away.
No, you're good. Yeah, Chroma's Memorial is very unique as a card. It's very expensive, but boy, does it do a lot. And then Gauntlet of Power is like, why am I spacing on the name of the card? Something Sun. God, everyone's going to be yelling.
Cage Sun.
You know, the ones, Cage Sun. Thank you. You're dead on. Yeah, it's Cage Sun, but this one affects everybody.
Yeah, we talked about that when we were talking about mono decks. We never really did a thing on monocolor staples, but yeah, we were talking that one in Cage Sun. Highstone, Clockworth, Silversmith, Prismatic Lens. It's a good rock. Chromatic Star. Add one more color. Sacrifice it. Okay. And then draw a card. Not too bad. I liked. Yeah. Okay, and then we get some.
Here we get the lands.
Here's the card. I was so happy to see Urborg Tomb of Yawgmoth. That card had gone to $30, $40 or whatnot. And I'm really hoping that this is a sign that they will reprint Cabal Coffers. But my guess is it's not going to be in a mint set.
Urborg is a pretty big deal. And I know, too, another one, Vesuva needed to reprint real badly.
Yes, that looked good, too.
It's horrendously expensive, Vesuva. Care Keep. There's a lot of decks that want Care Keep, especially sacrifice decks. Some decks even like Swarm Yard if you're playing one of those odd tribes.
Yes.
Dryad Arbor is probably one of the bigger deals out of this set. You don't see it as much in our format, but definitely that is a big reprint.
It isn't a spell. It's affected by summoning sickness and it has tap. So it's a land and a creature.
Yep.
So it's free.
It's the only thing that's like it.
That's weird. It's a free 1/1.
You can't respond to it. Yeah, and it's playing a land.
But it's also a creature, so somebody can destroy it as a creature.
You're dead on. It's definitely a mixture. Teleria West, because it has transmute, sees a decent amount of play too. I'm trying to think. Flagstone's not one I'm familiar with. I'm going to read it real quick. Enters put into a graveyard from the battlefield. You may search your library for a plains card and add a battlefield touch. That's not bad. Not great either, but
yeah,
it's there.
Yeah, it's not terrible. These other ones, the pools, the Dreadship Reef, these I think are pretty decent to have that ability. It's kind of a good mana sink.
Yeah. It's a decent mana sink, and this cycle too. Like I've run it before in Atraxa. I think we started peeling it out. I think maybe I still dread Sheep Reef in there, which I think came with the deck. But other than that, and then Terramorphic Expanse, which I don't mind keep the cost low. We need the reprints to do that. So hey,
there you go. Well, there you go, guys. That's our time. I don't know how long we went with that, but those are the cards that kind of jumped out at us. I know you guys probably have your favorites. But yeah, this looks like a fun set. We just want to quickly go over it. Really stoked on this this time-shifted border and some of these cards. And I guess my suggestion, you say what you want, Alex, but I'm thinking instead of trying to buy a whole box of this, I want to buy some singles that I really want for my decks, and especially because I want to make my Teysa. I like all those old borders. I'm going to maybe replace a few of the cards I have in there for some of these bad boys.
I was going to say, sadly, I was, again, and I think I said this at the very top, I really, really liked this box to sit in your closet when it was $160. I thought that was a steal. Hands down, get it, grab a box, don't open it, hide it. It's not terribly fun, but it is. Now it's $200. I don't know anymore. I don't know if it's quite worth it, but I definitely, I'm on board with our sealed conversation to get a draft or a sealed in, and I'll get to enjoy it a little bit that way.
We'll do a draft or seal. We'll get some singles. And if you guys want to get some singles, use our affiliate link. We'll put that below in the information section here. Really appreciate you guys. I know last time I got some comments. We're going to start looking through them as far as a few suggestions and stuff. So we really appreciate that too. Whatever you guys enjoy, let us know, and we will keep trying to make good videos.
Yeah, and let us know if you like this one too. This is a different style. that we did. We weren't quite sure how we wanted to tackle the set, but we did want to mention it. So we're just tossing this out as potentially something we could do on these types of sets. It might be a good, easy go-to solution. But tell us what you think.
All right. And until next time.
See ya.